What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Trey Hodge, and this is another episode of Purposeful Talk, where we talk about things that matter. And today, what matters is entrepreneurship. I have a special guest here. I'm telling y'all, once y'all hear her story, it's on point. It's on point, and I got a lot of grace for it because I'm related to it. But it's all good. It's all good. But before we dive into Purposeful Talk this episode today, I want to talk a little bit about what I did on yesterday. So yesterday there was a youth empowerment summit at Decaney High School. Went and talked to a couple students. It was boys, only boys, middle school and high school. Talked to a couple students about empowering themselves by building morale. Great turnout. It was great event. I just enjoy being able to get out there and talk to some students. So that's all on that part. Now, let's dive into the podcast. So, I want to introduce her. I'm gonna do an introduction because she is my sister. So I can do this introduction how I want to do this introduction.
Okay.
So, I've been knowing this young lady for the past 29 years. 29 years. I've seen her go from where she was to where she is today. She has her own salon business. She's been in business for the past 8 years, but she's really been doing hair her whole entire life. I've seen her go through ups, go through downs, go through many things throughout her journey. And I think that she has gotten to a point where she has mastered her craft. I would say she has actually mastered her craft. So I asked her to come on the podcast so we can have a quick conversation just to kind of talk a little bit about how she got to where she was, just to give y'all some tips and nuggets. So without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Kendra Hodge of Chroma Hair Studios in Pearland, Texas.
Thank you, brother, for that introduction.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to have applause at this moment, so you're going to have some applause.
Okay.
But, yeah, how you doing?
I'm good.
Act like we haven't talked at all today, so yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just want this to be a real cool conversation, not very formal. This is for an audience of teens. Okay. So they haven't really stepped into their craft or their occupation just yet. Okay. But the reason why I like having these conversations is because I want to show teens that entrepreneurship can be done, and I want to put them in front of people that have mastered their craft. So that's why I wanted you to come and sit in on the Purposeful Talk podcast. So let's jump right into it. Let me give some statistics about Chroma Hair Studios. So, like I said, Chroma Hair Studios have been in business for the past 8 years. They're based out of Pearland, Texas. Now, not only are we going to just talk about on top of the surface, if it's okay, we want to go deep in, like underneath the surface. That's how you say it? Mm-hmm. Underneath the surface?
Mm-hmm. The meat.
Yeah.
The meat of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chroma Hair Studios is in the six-figure club. Did I put your business out there too quick?
It's out there.
It's out there now? Is that okay?
I mean,
it's out there now.
It is what it is.
Okay. So what that means, if y'all don't know what that means, the six-figure club is she's making over $100,000 a year. So, just tell you a little bit about that. But just Chroma Hair in general, their mission is to deliver quality, diverse services in hair care and supreme customer service in an inviting atmosphere. They keep their eyes on current trends, partake in professional development and continued education. They also emphasize on nurturing the relationships with their clients to ensure the best experience. So first question I want to ask Miss Kendra Hodge of Chroma Hair Studios. I want to ask, how is business going for you? You've been in business for 8 years. I know you have ups and downs, but at this moment, how is business going?
I would say business is going pretty well. I'm definitely blessed. As of now, I'm booked until about the end of June, so I'm grateful.
Okay. And right now it is mid-May?
Mid-May. Mm-hmm.
What's today, May 15th?
15th, right 15th. In the middle.
Yeah, May 15th and booked all the way to end of June. How did you get to that point? That's you pretty needed right now. So how did you get to this point of booked until June?
Honestly, I believe it was just my passion. With me loving hair and then having a passion for people, loving people. I've always been very adamant about really wanting to grow my clientele base. And so I really did things that other people didn't do. So I worked extra hours. I was at the salon when other stylists weren't there. I went and passed out business cards when I didn't really feel that much confident to do so. I still pushed through and I did it. And so I feel like the things that I did in the past to really, really grow my clientele base really helped me get to where I am today.
Okay. So the things that you did in the past help you get to where you are today. So it's not just like you just popped up out of nowhere and start having success and people knocking on your door to have a seat in your chairs.
Exactly.
You had to build it from years ago to get to where you are today.
Yes.
So what was that like? What did that look like back in the day when you were passing out cards? Like, what was your daily mode of operation?
So my main focus would be to make sure that I looked the part.
Okay.
So make sure that my hair was done, my makeup was done. I had a decent or cute outfit on, you know. I love to dress cute, so that was the easy part. But I wanted to make sure that I was dressed the part so that people would stop and compliment either something I had on or my hair or my makeup or anything like that. And that would be easy access for me to give them a card, you know.
Okay. So you kind of looked the part already.
Yes. I
Exactly.
always say that I'm my walking billboard. You know,
Okay.
I'm the person that they see first. So I want to make sure that I fit the part of being a hairstylist,
Yeah.
especially professional.
Yeah, because if your hair not done and you try to give me a business card, I'm going like, are you going to do it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
Okay. So you had to look the part. Now, what was your grind like? Like, kind of walk us through, because you were younger. When did you start out?
So I became licensed at 22.
Okay.
But I knew at 9 years old that this is what I wanted to do. So it actually started sometime in high school where I had, you know, my friends from school or, you know, people that used to go to church with me, my friends from church. They would come in and get their hair done at the house and in my room. So I'm styling hair. And I was really doing it for the passion, not really for the money, because I was barely charging a lick of nothing, maybe anywhere from $5 to $20 per service. So that was just for me to learn and grow, and just because I was loving it and I was passionate about it. But after that, once I went through cosmetology school, I knew right away that I wanted to hop into a salon. So I got into a salon and I started as a receptionist. And I just kind of grew from there. Started as a receptionist, then became an assistant, then moved to a different salon, became an assistant there, and went into booth rental. And from there, I knew that I had to work harder. I had to pass out my cards. I had to grind. I had to really make sure that I took care of the client that was in my chair, because I knew that most of the service would come back from that client. And I understood that it was easier to take care of the client that you already have than to get a new one. However, I was still focused on growing my clientele base. So I would still pass out cards. I would still, you know, try to go to networking events, just connect with people so I can grow that the clientele base.
Okay. I like, we're starting to get into like who you, like you yourself. And I wanted to just read this. I saw this. I did my research. Yes, she is my sister, but I still wanted to do research from a professional level. So, of course, she is the founder of Chroma Hair Studios. Like she said, her passion for hair started at 9 years old. As she grew in the industry, her passion began to evolve into teaching others what she has learned over the past almost 10 years of being licensed. Now, she has a 5-year goal. Well, we're going to go to that in a little bit. We're going to go to, because I want to stick on where she is right now. Now, it's a few things that stood out to me that I want to go into. You said, when you were doing it at the house, and I remember those times, a lot of her friends would come over, you only charge $5 to $20, right? Now you're just starting out. You're getting your feet, getting your feet wet, figuring things out, but you're charging $5 to $10. How were you able to survive on $5 or $10? I mean, you were younger, but how were you able to? What made you choose those prices when you could have chose any high prices or go on a higher scale?
Well, at the time, I was so young, and then it really wasn't about money for me. It was just about me doing what brought me joy and what I loved and what I was really passionate about. So I kind of worked like little reception jobs or, sales person's jobs just to kind of get some money coming in. But my main focus was to get into cosmetology school and get into working in a salon.
Gotcha. Okay, so you just wanted to kind of get your feet wet a little bit so it can usher you into the steps of being a receptionist and then the assistant, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, I remember from there you said you hustled, you grew your clientele. So you were actually learning different skills throughout this process. So what I'm seeing, it started at 9. At 9, you had a vision, or you started to see a destination of where you wanted to head, right? And then from there, you started to work on your craft a little bit, get a little bit better in your skills. And then you started to get some clientele and wanted to grow your clientele. So what kind of skills were you having to learn and grow and develop yourself in order to grow clientele? Because with clientele, you're dealing with people, different attitudes, different, like what people like and what people don't like. So what were some of the skills that you had to develop during that process?
I think some of the skills that I had to develop definitely was a skill in customer service. You know, knowing how to take care of the client that I already have in my chair, being kind, polite, positive. I feel like those things were very important, especially with the type of clientele I was looking to attract. So I wanted to make sure that I put out what I wanted back in return. I also feel like just mastering styling natural hair. At the time when I was building my clientele, natural hair was just starting to kind of peak out, and people were really starting to get into it. Maybe at the very, very beginning, but I wanted to kind of get into that type of styling because I saw that it was a lack there. And so I really focused on growing my clientele.
What were some of the other things that you realized you had to develop over time while you're in this building this customer service, customer base?
I would say just having a genuine care for people too. You know, when it comes to doing hair, I feel like when people sit down in the chair, it's kind of like a woosah, it's a relief. So they tend to tell you all of their business. You know, they tend to want some of your input on certain experiences or life experiences that they're going through, or, you know, just to kind of vent. And so I do feel like it's good to be able to provide a space for them to do that. Also, you kind of have to learn how to not allow that to affect you in the end, because, you know, you don't want to feel like people are just dumping all their problems on you. So you kind of have to have a sense of a balance, and I think that I've mastered that over the years. I think that that's very important. And also what I believe is very important too is having a professional relationship with your clients and kind of drawing that line. Everybody needs boundaries. And I believe that, you know, when you set those boundaries with your clients, they respect you more and they value what you offer more as well. And so I want to make sure that I keep that type of professional relationship. And don't get me wrong, we laugh and we joke and we're relaxed. But I also want to make sure that I keep that certain type of boundary there so we can, you know, have an understanding of the type of relationship we have.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Cool. So you are developing yourself in these skills. Now I want to backtrack a little bit because I want to set this up a certain way. So at the end, we're helping the teens be able to see how it all planned out, because I like step-by-step processes.
Okay.
I like plans. I like people be able to see getting from point A to point B, right? So we said we started at 9 years old. What was it that made you realize hair was the thing? Were you for sure certain that's what you were going to do for the rest of your life? Was it just something like, oh, I just kind of enjoy doing? What, if you can think back to that time, what stood out about hair that you was like, that's what I want to do?
Well, honestly, I remember writing 3 things down in my journal that I wanted to do. Okay. So number 1 was a beautician, because back then that's what we called them. Number 2 was a fashion designer. And number 3 was a music producer. And I really went into all 3 of those things before taking hair as, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So in high school, my dad, he made me. I didn't have a choice, but he made me go to performing arts high school. High School of Performing and Visual Arts, and I went there for vocal. And I believe that sometimes parents have their own dreams and they want their kids to live their dreams. But, you know, I said, okay, you know what? He is the parent, so I got to listen. So I went to the
It wasn't
school.
that easy. You didn't give up that easy.
I didn't give up that easy, but, I mean, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, of course. In the end.
I was in the 9th grade. So, so I went to HSPVA, and I just was so adamant, like, I want to do hair. I want to do hair. I kept telling that to them. Well, my dad and my mom, but eventually my dad was like, okay, all right, we're going to let you do hair. So when it was the opportunity for me to transfer schools, it was too late. I had transferred at a later date than I should have to be able to complete the program, but I was done with singing. So I said, you know what, I'm going to just go to another school. So I went to a different school, and at that school I tried a sewing class. I was in the class, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this.
What was it about the sewing, though?
It didn't really bring me joy. I just felt like it was a task. I didn't love it. You know, when I was doing it, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to do this again. You know, I didn't have the feeling of, oh, I love doing this, and this is so fun. I learned that I just like to dress cute and not make the clothes. So I kind of figured out, okay, let me try hair. And so once I graduated school, my dad was like, okay, if you still want to do it, once you graduate, I'll pay for cosmetology. And so I graduated, and I'm like, Dad, I'm ready. And so he's like, okay. And he paid for me to go to cosmetology school, and I went through the program. And, well, honestly, once I started in August of 2009, actually, I started the cosmetology program. And shortly after, 3-4 months after, I got a job at a salon. So I knew then that, okay, this is really what I'm passionate about doing.
Okay. So I like this type of stuff, because even though I am your brother, I'm looking back on the situation, and I'm just like, wow, I'm seeing how things are panning out. I didn't even know that fashion was a part of the plan at first, because you got a job at a interior design place. I mean, it's kind of
it was like a home furnishing store, but they had fabrics and, you know, little knickknacks and stuff like that. So yeah, I still did that.
It could be underneath a fashion category in a sense. Okay, so like, I think that speaks so much volume, because there's so many people, especially teens out there, that don't know what they want to do. Like they don't have any clue. Like myself, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do until years after college. So the fact that you had 3 things and you wrote it down in a journal. I need y'all to be taking notes. She wrote it down in a journal. She wrote 3 things down in a journal. Now, how did you pick these things?
I think it was just things that I loved, because even though I didn't want to sing per se, I still have a love for music. Okay. And even when I went to the Performing Arts High School, I was in a girl group. We wrote songs, we did music, we recorded music as well. And I just was like, this is too much work. I just, you know, I want to sing just because I just feel like it, not because I have to sing, you know. So it's just a lot of things that I kind of learned in the midst of going through the process of trying everything that I desired to do or thought I desire to do.
That is huge. That is huge. Like, write down. So here's the first thing. Write down what is it that you want to do. You may have a list of 10 things, but if you just write it down, get a journal somewhere, write it down, it'll help you, because now you can say, all right, I want to go and do this. Let's try this out. Let's take 6 months and try this out. See how I feel. And what you were able to do was, when you got into a certain thing that was on your list, you tested it out, you tried it. You didn't just do it for a month. How long? Because I think you were doing the music for a good little minute.
Yeah, I was at HSPVA for about a little over 2 years. So I did my freshman year and my sophomore year and a portion of my junior year.
Okay. There. And then you had the girls singing group.
Yes,
How long
we had
was
the girls singing group for about a year and a half.
Okay.
We did that for some time too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you took about, let's just say, a total of 3 years in music, figuring that out. Then you realized you self-reflected. It was like, how do I feel when I'm doing this? I don't really feel, because that's what we talk about in Uplift and Outreach is whenever you're finding your passion and your true joy, you want to ask yourself, like, what makes me happy? What brings me true joy? Not just am I having fun, but joy on the inside.
Yeah.
And when you find that thing, that's when it can take you to the next level, right? So like I said, you wrote it down in your journal. You tested it, you tried it out, tried this out, tried that out. But then when it got to hair, it was like, bam, it just kind of flowed. So talk to me about how it felt on the inside when you first started doing hair. Not when you were 9, but after you wrote it down on your list and you were realizing that this is the thing that I want to do. This is the thing that I'm passionate about. Talk about that feeling, because if you cannot recognize that, then you will never know that's something that can take you a long way as your passion.
Yeah. Well, I would say it just felt like I wasn't really working per se. I just felt like I was doing something that I loved, and if money wasn't a factor, I wouldn't have charged for it. I would have just did it because I love doing it, you know. But since we live in the real world, it comes with a cost. But I back then at that time, since money wasn't such a big issue, my parents were taking care of me, I was living at home, I just really needed a part-time job to kind of take care of my necessities. So the really focus really was that it brought me joy. And I was just really happy doing it. And I love the reaction that I got from the clients after their service was done.
Love the reaction. That's big. Love how you make people feel, because you did say you wanted to, in a time where you were wanting to get more clients, you would always try to cater to them. So you had to like really see how how they felt and how you made them feel. And so just by in that moment, you're seeing they looking in the mirror, smiling, that probably just brought you so much joy in that time.
Yes.
Yeah. So like that is so big. And one thing I wanted to add to this that a lot of people may not have, and that's that support system. Now, you said your dad, our dad, said after you finish high school, was it a year or 2 years after you finished high school, if you
Just
still
immediately after.
Okay, so if immediately after high school, if you still was interested in cosmetology, he will pay for it. That is so big and so critical. And I understand everybody might not have that opportunity. They may not have that dad or that mom in their life, but it's always good to have somebody as your support system. Always good to have somebody. And if you don't have someone, then network. Put yourself around great people that may be a little bit older than you that want to see you do your best. And you'll see that people will want to support you in what you do. So that's just a nugget I wanted to throw in there. If you don't have that support system like you did, then go find that support system. So we're gonna move on from that.
Okay.
So we're at the point where we found our destination. We know what roadmap we want to go on, and we're heading in that direction, right? Now, I wanted to talk about the gift part, because I believe there's 4 parts to becoming a successful entrepreneur. There's knowing where you're going, having the destination, knowing what your gift is, knowing what your passion is, and then developing your skill, right? So we went over the destination. All right, now you focus. You know where you want to go. Now you're starting to identify your passion. You realize this is what you want to do. So we got that one, and now we're looking at the gift. So the gift. Do you understand what I mean by gift?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to explain to them, because I explain it all the time. I want you to explain to them what you think a gift is and how your gift is in line with what you do here.
Now, I think a person can have multiple gifts.
Okay.
So I believe that 3 of my gifts, I would say, one gift for sure is working with my hands. So I work well with my hands. Not only do I feel like I do hair pretty well, I'm going to say so myself, but I also, I like to cook, and I feel like I can cook pretty well also. That
didn't start until after we got older.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, so another thing I feel like is a gift is that I can sing. I think that is a gift that God has given me, and eventually I believe that I will use it later on in life. I also believe that my gift is, I guess the best way to explain it is making people feel comfortable, them having a sense of comfort with me. Like literally when they sit in my chair, even if they're a new client, I feel like they just want to share their whole world with me. I mean, I'm glad they feel comfortable enough to do that, but I don't believe that they can do that with every single person.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is a special gift that I have as
Yeah.
well.
I would say that gift may be the gift of listening.
Yeah.
That can be it, because once people, if they're talking to you and they're continuing to talk, they feel comfortable. That means you're a good listener. So
Yeah.
So by you, how did you come to identifying these gifts? Like, was it over time? Was it in your passion? Where did you start to see these gifts? More so for what you do, your gift that works in line with what you do at the salon.
Well, the gift that works in line with what I do as far as working with my hands, I think I noticed that once I started doing hair.
Okay.
In high school, once I just started styling my hair, that's where it started, and all the different styles I would try. And my dad was like, "Oh Lord, what is she doing now? Her hair color is brown, blonde,
Yeah.
red. I don't know what color she gonna do today." So I think that the gift working with my hands started very young.
Okay.
But as I got more into the industry, and then further into my business, I started realizing that I had a gift of being able to communicate with people well, or be a great listener.
Okay.
And even having conversations with my dad, I think that he has a gift in that area too. And so us having that conversation and saying, okay, well, maybe I get this from my dad,
Yeah.
These are some things that I feel like we are similar on. And so I believe that I didn't recognize that, honestly, until later on in my career.
Okay. So how do you feel like your gift in your craft has benefited you along the way? Like, do you feel like your business would be where it is today if you didn't have those same gifts, but you were in the same industry doing the same thing?
I don't think so. I often say that my business is my ministry.
Okay.
And I feel like this is my way to minister to people. I'm definitely a believer in Christ, and I feel like that them feeling comfortable to communicate with me and being open to what I have to share can change their life, and I understand the importance of that. And I recognize that, God has gotten me this far, so I want to encourage them in that. I want to be uplifting to them in that as well. And so I feel like that's a part of what my gift has done. My gift has helped me understand that God has given me these gifts, and that I want to make sure that I use them to glorify Him and then also help others.
Okay. Ooh, I like that. So we went from destination, identifying where is it that you want to go, to knowing that's your passion, you truly enjoy it, you would do it for free. Then we go to from destination to passion to gift, and now skill, right? And skill is just something that you develop over time, right? So one thing that you said earlier that stood out to me is you had a niche of working with natural hair. And you can be skilled in doing hair. You can be skilled in speaking. You can be skilled in doing your own craft. But once you find that niche, it separates you from the pack of others.
Yeah.
So you said that you started to work on, or started to focus on natural curly, crinkly hair?
Natural, curly, wavy hair.
Natural curly wavy hair, right? And this is before it became like a very popular trend nowadays. Back in the early 2000s, it wasn't really that way. But you saw something. Did you see it happening in the future? You saw it just coming, or how did you go about picking that niche and then developing your skills over time to get good at that?
Well, initially I started doing sew-ins first.
Okay.
That's what I started doing prior to me actually styling clients in the salon.
Gotcha.
I was working at a Caucasian salon, and they didn't offer those certain services. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I can offer the sewing services since they don't.
Yeah.
But once I transitioned to an actual black hair salon, they were doing more natural styling, working with more textured hair. And so it opened my eyes to doing something different. And so I just started experimenting with that. And once I started working with that type of hair, I noticed, oh, wow, I actually like working with textured hair. I like working with natural hair, and it just kind of grew from there.
Okay. So how did you get better? Like, you found out this is what I need to do now, or is it like every client that comes in, you're just going to try to get better on their head, and that comes with mess ups and all that stuff like that? Or
Yep.
how did that go about?
Honestly, even what I tell my team is just doing it.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect, and so the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you'll get. And so as I continue to do the hair more, work with that type of hair texture more often, try different products to see what products worked well together, how the hair would smooth by using this certain flat iron or this type of technique. I also picked up a lot of different techniques from the stylists that were working with me. I would ask them questions. Hey, I noticed that with this style, this is what you do. Why do you do that? Just really trying to get an understanding of why they did what they did, especially since they had the experience, and then just kind of get their feedback and learn from there.
Okay, cool. Now I wanna shift. I wanna pivot a little bit because we've got to the point where we understand how you got to where you are. With that being said, I understand that it wasn't easy. By that, I can tell it definitely wasn't easy. And we've had conversations, off camera. But I want to know some of the hardships that you've experienced, maybe in the beginning, where you're at now. Like, what are some of the things that really pained you going through this entire process of finding your craft, developing your skill and finding your passion and getting to where you are in the six-figure club?
Well, honestly, in the beginning, I didn't see it as hard. I saw it as just me trying to get into the business and learning all that I need to know. My mindset was of a sponge, and I just soaked up everything that I got, all the knowledge, all the experiences. I just soaked up everything. Things really started to get challenging as I started growing my business a little bit more. So this is prior to me getting the salon, but as I became more busy, I was starting to get more and more clients. I'm learning how to balance that, learning how to manage the clientele. Then I got to a space to where I needed to hire an assistant because I was overflowing with clients at this point. So now I'm like, okay, let me figure out how to hire a person. Ooh, and that was a whole journey in itself. I think more of the hardships happened when I started hiring people.
Really?
So, it's very interesting working with people.
Because people don't have the same work ethic or values and all that stuff, mindset,
thought process. I mean, and then I was learning as well. Because I had to learn what was the ideal person that I felt fit for my brand. And so I had to go through the process of learning that and understanding that. I also had to learn in the interview process, what are the best questions to ask? And in order for me to learn the best questions, I had to ask the wrong questions and then learn, okay, those questions don't work. Let me ask the right questions, I also had to learn, okay, how can I fire a person, because it gets to a point to where if a person is not meeting the certain standard that you have set, even for yourself, and if they're not doing that same standard, then you have to, okay, like, how can I let this person go? Because at the end of the day, my name is on the business. It's not just them working with me, but it's my name too. But I had to figure out, okay, how do I go about doing this? I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, or I understand people have bills and life that they have to maintain, but at the end of the day, it's professional. It's a business. A business is a business, and so I had to learn that. Learn my ideal person, even learn how to work with difficult clients. You can't please everyone. And I understood that as well, but I tried to do my best. And so anytime that a person wasn't satisfied with the service, I tried to, offer a redo service, complimentary, to make sure that I'm meeting their needs. Even certain instances, I would have to give a refund, because they just weren't satisfied. And you just have to kind of learn as you go. Don't take it personal, and understand that at the end of the day, it's just business.
Okay. So what is something that you would say you're going through at this time? Like currently, what's one of the biggest roadblocks or stepping stones that you are currently experiencing?
So once again, it's people.
Goes back to people.
So I'm in the process of hiring because I am expanding. And so, oh God, that's just been a journey. Just really finding the person that fits for your brand.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing, but when you know what you're looking for and you know that it's out there because it's in you, and you believe that other people have that same type of mentality, then you're willing to, wait for the type of person that you really want. And I feel that eventually when I get to that place to where I've built up over the years and my name and my brand gets bigger and it grows beyond where it is today, I won't have to be, so focused on, okay, I got to find this person. They're actually going to come to me. But I do believe in really going out there. Like now I'm going to the schools, cosmetology schools, offering demonstration courses. I'm setting up for the career fairs, and from what I've learned, I'm the only independent business that is doing that. Most of the other salons there are corporations, but I've learned to do things that most people won't do, and I know that that's something that's going to set me apart, my brand, and me getting more people to come to me.
Yeah, that sounds like you understand you quite a bit, because you said that even at a younger age, you were doing that. You were going out, passing out business cards, really putting the grind out. But it seems like kind of like the title of who you are. It's many pieces to you, but with understanding you, if you really reflect, would you say that that's something about you, that you're willing to go the extra mile and do things that other people aren't willing to do to get the result that you want?
Definitely.
Okay. That really speaks a lot of volume. If that's why it's so important to reflect all times throughout the entire process of you figuring out what is it that you want to do.
Yeah.
Because you can see patterns in your life, just like you said, and you see, like, I'm a person that just does not quit, that just does not give up. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to where I want to be. And you can see that follow you throughout your entire life. So that's real big. That's real big. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll kind of close it out, is you said you want the brand. You said the brand is going to be bigger than you. I want you to touch on that, and I'm gonna lead you into this a little bit because I know you're gonna go in a certain direction, but I just want to make sure we go in a certain direction.
Okay.
I also have on here. This is about Kendra and Chroma Hair. She says her 5-year goal is to slowly back away from the chair so she can continue to train, growing her team and giving them the tools to be successful beauty professionals. She has big plans for growing the business in a way that can reach others and touch their lives. Her desire is to give them opportunities that she had to work her butt off so that her teams can get there quicker. So with that being said, where are you trying to take Chroma? Where you saying it's bigger than you? You saying your 5-year goal? Where is Chroma Hair going?
So the vision I have for Chroma Hair is to be a franchise salon. The plan is to bring in other stylists who are passionate about hair as I am and train them to be successful, whether that's with Chroma Hair Studio or that's with them opening their own salon. I want to be able to...
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. She just said that she wants to bring people on to either be a part of Chroma Hair Studios or learn how to build their own. Where do you hear that? You don't hear that. Usually people, whenever they have their own business, they just want them to work for you. They just want you to work for them so they can make money off of you. And if you quit or whatever, they don't care. But you're actually wanting to pour into people so they can learn from you. Yes. And they can go do their own thing if they choose to.
Exactly.
Wow, I need that's we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, keep talking about the dream.
So that's the desire for sure. And then once I step away completely from the chair, I want to be a business consultant. So my overall goal is helping people. So in being a business consultant, I want to help other businesses. Of course, my main focus and expertise would be helping other hair salons and barber shops. And then maybe even other beauty services, to grow their business. But as it continues to grow, who knows? It may open to just businesses overall. Gotcha.
Okay. And then you said, oh man, it just slipped me. But just in general, by you wanting to help other businesses in that way, that's huge, and that's what you call succession. having those people come behind you and you wanting them to get it to that point quicker than you were able to. That's what I was going to say. It was whenever you were saying about you want to see people do well. Wasn't that one of your passions that you talked about before?
Yeah, I guess, because what was one of the passions? Helping people.
Yeah.
I guess kind of the same sense as helping people. But I guess I related to when I was working at others' previous salons. You know, I felt like it was a crab in a barrel mentality, and they didn't really want to help you more than so you can be better than them. You know, they want to see you do well, but not too well. You know, just enough to where they're like, oh, okay, I can keep you here, but not better than them. And I just didn't want that. I didn't want to have an atmosphere to where I have to keep people in a box, without a lid. I want people to feel like that they can be free to a certain level of degree. Of course, we're going to be professional and have a certain level of being organized. But I wanted to make sure that I gave a sense of freedom, and I didn't want to be the reason why somebody's being held back from what they really want to do.
So how would you benefit? How would you benefit off of helping somebody start their own business?
I believe it's about planting the seed. With me planting that type of seed and allowing that seed to grow, it's going to come back to me. So I'm not concerned on, what this person is doing, what they're doing. I just believe that what's for you is for you, regardless of who you are. And if you're walking in your purpose, you're going to be blessed.
Wow. That was good. That was real good. So in closing, I just see it from this standpoint. You got a dream, the big picture. You said you want to go into a franchise. You started with a destination, identified your passion. Then from there, you identified your gift, honed in on it, and you develop your skill. And now you're at a place where you're an entrepreneur, you're succeeding, you're in the 6-figure club, you're a boss, you're doing all these great things, all because of you took these steps to get there.
Yep.
So with that being said, how can people learn more about you? How can they learn more about Chroma Hair, whether products, services that you have, location? Like how, after somebody watches this, they may want to come and get their hair done after June because you booked. So how can they get in contact with you, or how can they learn more about Chroma?
Yes, so they can get in contact with me through social media. Okay. So Instagram, Chroma Hair Studio, spelled KHROMA, hair, HAIR Studio. That's on Instagram and also on Facebook as well. Also my website, chromahair.com.
There we go. Well, that is another episode of Purposeful Talk, and where we talk about what matters. And today what mattered is entrepreneurship with Chroma Hair Studios. Y'all have a good one. Until next time, we out.
Peace.
Yeah.